I bought 17 books after Payday. Let's get into it. Hi everyone, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Shelly and I am a lover of books. We speak about everything books here, and that includes all the drama going on in the book world. But today I'm doing something I haven't done in a while, and that is a book haul. So I started my new job recently, but because I missed the pay cut off for like the first month, I didn't get paid. And then this month I finally got paid, which means I had some extra cash to spare. And of course, what else am I going to do but spend that on books? So yeah, I bought 17 books. And I think that is actually a steal because I really could have gotten 50. So I don't think it's too bad. So let's go through all the books I got and, the ones that I'm really, really looking forward to reading. Because as much as I am excited to read a lot of them, there are some that are really just like top of the food chain for me. So I'm going to try and give you a rundown on all of these books. And, I'll give you guys my reviews as I read them over the channel. So do be sure to hit that subscribe button and be sure to click your bell as well so that you get all the notifications of when I am posting. Let's get into it. Okay, so very first, top of the game, I am super ecstatic that I have gotten this book, and I'm super excited to read it because this is the last book in a trilogy that I absolutely adore. So this is The Eternal Ones by Namina Forna. This is part of the Gilded Ones trilogy. Now, if you've read the Gilded Ones, you know that this is one of the most amazing YA fantasies out there. It's about a young girl named Decca, and she was part of this really restricted society that was against women, and it was ruled by men and had really strict rules. In the first book, she discovers that there is, some secrets in her path, and then, she almost gets killed for it, but she makes it through, and as she goes through all her adventures and fighting, she discovers more, and that ends up in a war. The second book is the aftermath of all we find out in the first book, and that leads to way more revelations than we could have expected, and a few betrayals as well, and a lot of heartbreaks as usual. And so this third book is wrapping everything up, and I'm super excited to see how everything just comes to a head. So definitely top of my game. As you can see, yes, I've started it. So yeah, we're definitely going to have some fun with this one. Okay, so this is Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone by Benjamin Stevenson. Now, this grabbed me on the title alone, and also because one of his books are coming out this month in February, and I've already pre-ordered it. So when I found out that he had another book, I'm like, oh, let me read this, and I've already read it. That is how excited I was to pick it up, and this was so fun. So I'm definitely going to be giving you guys a review of this book. As you can tell, the title definitely has some, some fun to give us. It's really about this family that gets together in a retreat to welcome someone who's been away for a while, and a lot of things go awry. So definitely had a lot of fun, and the actual storytelling in this book is amazing. It's one of the things that I'm so excited to speak to you guys on when I do my review. But yeah, I read it. It was fun already. But yeah, this is one of the books I got, and I'm excited for his next book that's coming out this month. Okay, the next book is They All Had a Reckoning by Michelle Leathers. This is book 7 in a They All Had a Reason series. This series is the series that helped me accomplish my goal towards end of the year, because this, all of the books are this short. I mean, the text is small, so, we could argue that it's not too short, but it's really fast paced. It is a thriller, and it is absolutely really amazing. I thought it would be kind of simple and basic, especially because it was so short, but that just means that it's fast paced. Yes, there are some things that could be put in, but the entire series has really kept me on my toes. I can't tell you too much about it because all of the books are connected, but if I tell you what happens in every book, I will spoil the first book, so it's really hard. Just know that in the first book, they all had a reason. Someone ends up dead, someone found the body but didn't actually disclose it, and then there is a crime investigation, and there are a lot of secrets being had, a lot of kind of betrayals once again being had, a lot of people being backstabby, and then in the end, it's kind of wild, and that all the other books are connected, even though they all have different characters and different scenes and are in different locations. It's actually wild, and this book is a culmination of everything that we've been reading in the past 6 books, and everything is coming to blows here. And it's weird because this is one of those books where you get it a lot from the villain's point of view, so much so that it gets to a point that you start kind of rooting for the villain, not rooting for them, but you really kind of want to see if they're going to succeed. And in a bit you do kind of end up wanting to root for them, so it's really really weird, but it's really really fun. All the books really kept my attention, and I kind of sped through like a good like all like 6 books really really quickly, so definitely I cannot wait to see how the series ends. Okay, the next is a set of books that I have been dying to read. It is middle grade fantasy, and that is the Omari and the Night Brothers. I have the first 2 books here. I do believe that there's another book either on the way or already out, but I just got the first 2 books just to, just to get me started. When this book came out, I heard so many great things. It's by B.B. Alston, and quite frankly, I was hearing things like, oh, this is the thing to replace Harry Potter. This is the next great middle grade fantasy, and it appeals to not just young people but also to adults as well. And you guys, if you've been following either me on TikTok or some of my reviews, you know that middle grade has been one of the things that has like snatched my heart. Especially in 2023, I ended up reading quite a lot of middle grade fantasy because I needed something to not be so heavy, but also still have adventure and magic and fun. And so I'm super excited to read this. This is very funny because though I've heard quite a lot about Omari and the Night Brothers, I do not know what it's about. Obviously, I know it's about a young girl and something magic, something, fix. But yeah, I don't actually know what it's about, but that's also what excites me because I'm really going into it blind, so it's all surprises. As much as I've seen people rave about it, I've avoided reviews because I really just really want to go into it blind and just discover things for myself, discover the world and the characters for myself, and make a judgment by myself. So yeah, I've gotten the first 2 books, and I cannot wait to read and review it for you guys. Okay, so next is To Shape a Dragon's Breath by Monique Black Goose. Now this is like Native American fantasy, and I'm super excited about this because it's about a young girl who ends up going to a colonizer dragon school. So she's kind of like out of the circle. Everyone is already judging her, and so she's basically surrounded by enemies. And why that appeals to me is I'm just like, okay, this is going to be a lot of fun. I love things like the Blood Trials, Blood Scion, all these kind of worlds where a colonizer has taken over, and then you have kind of one person who's just trying to make it through all of it. And to see that she has now gotten into this dragon school and she's surrounded by enemies, I'm super excited, especially because dragons are like my top mythical creature. I love a good dragon book, so whenever like the dragon books come out, I am like the first to kind of pick it up. I was really excited when dragons started to be like the mythological creature of 2023. Yes, I know Fourth Wing had a lot to do with that, but I do not care. I love dragons. If it's a dragon book, then sign me up. So I'm super excited for this. I really do want to see how she navigates a world that's kind of set against her with people who are already against her and already have like biases against her. Like I am just super excited to get into this book. And I do want to see like where the series goes because this is the first book in a planned series. So I do want to see like what is going to be the conflict in this book and where it's going to lead, like who are going to be her allies, because I do not think they would have a book where we just continually have attacks and no one on her side. So I do want to see what's going to happen with that one, like who are going to be her allies, who are going to be the people who are on her side. Will they be like some switcheroos? Will people switch sides? Like I'm super excited to get into this and see what the world has in store. And because it is like Native American fantasy, I haven't read much Native American fantasies. I've only read like one so far, but I'm really keen and really intentional about like discovering more Native American books. And yeah, so this is going to be a really exciting journey for me, so I'll let you guys know what this book is all about. But yeah, super excited for this one as well. Now the next book, I think this is up there with like the eternal ones because I am super excited. This is part of one of my reading goals for this year. So one of my reading goals is to get into really high fantasy. I read a lot of YA fantasy, and last year I really got into middle grade fantasy. And yes, I do read adult fantasies as well, but they're not like epics and stuff like that. I really want to get into the epic fantasy genre. I have always been intimidated by the page numbers, as I know a lot of people are, because yes, I've read books that are like 500, 600 pages, even 700 pages, but I haven't read many. And when it's a series, that throws me off already, because it's not just one book I have to like commit to reading over 600 pages. It is now multiple books, and then the world building is also going to be insane, and there's going to be a lot of things to keep up with, and this world specifically is not just restricted to this series and this set of books. This is a wider world, which is what I'm excited for, but also what I'm terrified of, and that is the Misbourne Trilogy by Brandon Sanderson. Yes, one of my goals is to get into epic fantasies, but also one of my goals for this year is to get into the world of Brandon Sanderson. Obviously, like, he is known to be like a king in the fantasy world. Like, he is just known to be able to write amazing worlds, and all of his books just seem to be amazing from what I've heard. And I know that the universe is insanely huge, so I don't know if this is a good starting point, but I don't care. I've heard that you can read like all of the different books in their own like trilogies, even though they fit into the wider universe. It doesn't really matter which order you read them in, but it does help if you read them in a specific order. But either way, I heard that the Misbourne Trilogy is one of his best books ever, so I had to start with this. So I am excited to read this, and I'm going to let you guys know like all the fun I have. I'm going to also let you know how difficult it is getting, going from regular fantasy or YA and middle grade fantasy to something as like insane as epic fantasy. So yeah, I'm excited. This is like, yeah, top. It might even be above like the Eternal ones, but I know the world. I'm familiar with the world of the Eternal ones, so it's easier for me to get into that one. But yeah, this one probably like, yeah, tied with Eternal ones in terms of like how excited I am to get into it. Okay, so the next book is a thriller because I fell in love with thrillers last year. So yes, I got a combination of thrillers and fantasies and all this like haul. So the next book is Sweet Pea by CJ Skews. Now this one seems really, really interesting because it's like an editorial assistant by day, but someone who is creating a list of people she wants to kill. And I'm actually kind of curious, is the first kill going to be accidental and then she keeps going, or is she genuinely intending to kill these people? I'm like, because let's be real, we have people in our day-to-day lives who piss us off, like we do, but I don't think anyone ever like really, really intentionally plans to kill people. Like, if you do, obviously get help. But yeah, so I'm excited. And also like this cover, I was just like, classic thriller, classic, like it's going to be very tongue-in-cheek type of book. So yeah, I had to get it. I have seen that he has quite a few books and they all have great reviews, but this was a great starter. So yeah, I'm excited to get into this. And I do need like thrillers in the mix of my fantasy, so yeah, I don't get too overwhelmed. So yeah, this is definitely gonna help with that. Okay, so the next book is The Night Before by Katie Brent. And before I tell you about this, is there something going on in the thriller world? Because first of all, so many, not just these two, so many books have like this cover, like a woman with shades looking sketchy. And I'm just like, I have nothing against it. Like, the covers are stunning, but I have a feeling that you guys probably have the same designer, but they need to switch it up because come on, this is a bit too obvious. Like, at one point when I first saw it, I actually thought that they were by the same author because I was like, oh, they look similar. They're probably by the same author, same series, like pink, woman with shades, like it's probably the same person. And I was wrong. Well, it doesn't matter, but it still looks like a really, really fun book. This one looks like I can have quite a lot of fun with this. It's about a young girl who wakes up with a hangover. Her best friend is dead. She knows her best friend was murdered, but she doesn't know who did it because she cannot remember anything from the night before. So now she has to go and piece all the little bits of everything that happened the night before to figure out who is the killer. And I think her life also might be in danger. So yeah, this should be fun because it's giving, I don't know what it's giving, but it seems like it's going to be like one of those very, very cheeky, amateur sleuth kind of books. And I like a bit of amateur sleuthing. It just brings me like joy because I believe that if the situation were to arise, I'd be an amateur sleuth. I feel like I would be that person that's just like, guys, let's figure out all the clues. So I love amateur sleuthing books because it's giving me hope for maybe someday in the future. That being said, I don't ever want to be in a situation where I need to become an amateur sleuth. Heck no. At least not for a murder, maybe a robbery. The next book is Ace of Shades by Amanda Foody. Now, this one I think is going to be a bit of fun because it's one of those books that are like not in the century. I think it's like 1940s, 1930s, when things were a bit like, very, very hoity-toity and proper, and there are really, really strict rules. So this young girl, she is a lady, and she knows she's not meant to go anywhere near the city of sin, but her mother has gone missing, and the only person who can help her, is not a gentleman at all. He's kind of like a really, really sketchy person, but he's the only person she can turn to. And so she now has to go into the city of sin that she has always been told to avoid as a proper lady. And that is so insane, because you have thieves and just a bunch of ruthless individuals who she has to now get embroiled with so that she can find her mother. And in my head, I'm just like, what if it's one of the books where the mother was dead all along, or the mother is actually like it's actually someone who had like a really sketchy past, and the sketchy past caught up to her. I'm just like, I'm having all these ideas for it, but it seems like it'll be really, really fun, because she's leaving finishing school, guys, finishing school. So she was really like a lady in society. So yeah, her reputation is dead. And I like a book that, has a bit of scandal in it. And this seems like it'll bring me a bit of scandal. So yeah, I'm excited to get into this. It is, I believe, a series. I think it has 3 books. I'm not too sure, but I only have like the first book, just so I can gauge how, how fun it is and how much in a hurry I need to be to get the rest of the series. Yeah. So yeah, that should be a fun read. I feel like it'll be a more calmer read than the other fantasies I've shown you, especially obviously Misbourne. But it still sounds like it'll be fun. Okay, so the next book, it's Fox Gambit by Yoon Lee, and this just seems like a lot is going on. So it is part of like a wider universe, and I'm super excited to get into it. But this seems like it's sounding space opera, and I'm really looking forward to like reading more space opera books, because they just seem so exciting. And I am a nerd in more ways than one, guys. As much as I love books, I also read comics, and I have like a huge collection of comics. I also read manga. I also watch anime. So I'm not just like a book nerd. I am a nerd when it just comes to literature in any form. Fiction, of course. I do love my nonfiction, but it has to be fiction most of the time. And so this is about Captain Kell, who's been shunned from like this regiment in this thingy called a hexacart. I cannot pronounce it. I'm not really sure what it is, but he had unconventional practices, and so he's been shunned away. But he's been given a chance to kind of redeem himself and get back to where he was by, I believe, getting something back from some heretics. But the only ally he has is someone who is undead, and the undead person in his previous life went on like a bender and massacred like 2 armies. And it's like in the description it said one of them being his own, and I'm just like, when you say his own, do you mean like the undead guy's own or Kel's own? Like, so I don't know where I stand. And the fact that I'm just like, I still don't know what to pronounce this like society or galaxy or whatever they're in, the hex or whatever. I'm like, yeah, this is going to be very, 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 very confusing book. I can already tell. The plot seems very, very intense, very intricate, but it seems like it's going to be exciting because of it. And I'm kind of shocked because the book doesn't look that thick. So I'm trying to figure out how are they going to fit all this adventure in this book. I do believe that this is a series as well, but that just tells me you're going to have me annoyed because you're going to have me on a cliffhanger. But that's not going to stop me. I'm going to get into it, and hopefully this is a really, really fun book, or a start to a fun journey in the series and in the world of whatever world this will be. So yeah, I cannot wait to tell you guys how this one turns out as well. Okay, so the next book is The Bone Witch by Ren Chupeka, and this is a book that I've actually had on my list for quite some time because it sounds really, really intriguing, and I believe Ren Chupeka is Latinx. I do love books with Latinx characters because I believe Latinx folklore is just beautiful. I think it's so colorful, so interesting. Like, just the culture itself is a culture that I adore. So reading any books that focuses on that culture is one that will always, that will always draw me in. And so this book is about a young girl named Thea, and she is different from the rest of the witches in her clan and even in her society because she can control bones. Like, she can bring people back to life. So that makes her a necromancer, which is a kind of shunned practice. So yeah, she's not the most favored witch in her land. And so she goes abroad to see if she can like find someone to train her in the elemental powers and stuff like that. And being that she's a bone witch, she's actually like apparently meant to be super, super powerful, and she now not only needs to learn how to control these powers but also the elemental powers, because it seems like war is brewing in all of their kingdoms, and I believe there are 8 kingdoms, and so she needs to learn how to master these powers and contribute to the war effort, I guess, or help save them from catastrophe because her homeland is in danger because of the war that's brewing. So yeah, this seems like it's going to be really, really fun. I believe it's part of a trilogy. So yes, I've gotten quite a lot of series, I know, but I do love series because I don't like saying goodbye to characters. I get attached really quickly. And so I do not like standalones all that much a lot of times because I have to say goodbye to people who I've grown to love really quickly. So I do, yes, I do intentionally hunt down series, and this is just another one. But yeah, this should be a really, really fun time. Okay, so the next book is another dragon book that I'm super excited to get into. It's Fireart by Vanessa Lanang. And this is about a young girl who is like, she is, she's sworn to kill the dragon that took her mother's life. So she goes to this like dragon slaying academy, and she's just like pumped. She's ready. She's like, I'm going to avenge my mother. But then she witnesses something at this academy that makes her now question everything that she's been taught, because it was like an unsanctioned killing of people in the academy, like people who are meant to be on, their side. And so there was like a lot of questions stemming from that, but then also another person, is now making her question everything she knows. So now she has to figure out whose side she's truly on and what is actually going on. What does the academy actually stand for, and are they the people that she needs to be aligned with? So yeah, one, obviously I'm going to read this because it's a dragon book, so it definitely puts it like very, very high on my list of I need to read you. But two, this is giving a bit of, okay, we're gonna get a bit of rebellion, we're gonna get a bit of mutiny, maybe some romance, which I usually don't care about, but it's been growing on me, so I can't keep saying that. But yeah, so this like is going to be super, super, super exciting, guys. It's gonna be super fun. So yeah, let's be ready for this. We know there's going to be some intensity here. Let's find out. Was it really a dragon who killed her mother? Because that's the question I have. Let's be real, guys. Because if you're just killing people who don't seem like they've actually committed a crime, then chances are you are blaming a bunch of deaths on dragons. Let's be real about it. So I'm excited to get into this and to actually see why the Academy is doing what it's doing, or why it's done what it's done, and what really, what are the secrets that it's holding back from everyone else. Like, what are their true plans? Like, is this really just a terrible regime that we need to take down? Seems like my money's gonna be on yes. So yeah, super excited to get into Fireart. Okay, the next book is a book I actually spoke about on this channel, but I spoke about it when it was coming out. So I spoke about it as a book that, we should be on the lookout for, and a book that definitely we need to get. I hadn't gotten it when it initially came out because a lot of things were going on in life and I had to pull back on my book buying. But yeah, that is Ballad and Dagger by Danielle Jose Older. And this is about a young boy named Mateo. So Mateo is from this island that sank like ages ago. And the residents of this island now live, I believe, is it Brooklyn or something like that? Maybe New York. I don't know. I can't remember. But they now live somewhere in America. And while everyone is kind of just like hoping that one day the island will return, yeah, Mateo is like, first of all, you know what? The past is the past. I'm trying to live my future, and he's kind of like just focused on like getting his future dreams to come true. I believe he's a musician and he's just focused on that. And then one day he witnesses a murder by someone he thought he knew, and now everything is spinning, especially because it now seems that the villain that was the cause of their island sinking has returned and is ready and is coming for vengeance or something like that. It's kind of like coming to end, complete the job that they started. And so now a lot of things are happening, which means he cannot focus on the thing he wanted to focus on, which is just like his future. And it just seems like everything is coming up against him. And I'm really, really curious as to how he knows this person who killed someone. Did they kill him for a good reason? Probably. But yeah, now Mateo seems to be like involved in a lot of chaos, which, unfortunate for him. So sorry. But yeah, so it seems like it'll be a very, very like interesting read. There are a lot of revelations that seem to be in the back burner. Like, we need to know what really happened with the island, why it sunk, and what's going on with that murder. That seems like it's a very important plot point. Who got murdered as well? Because Mateo doesn't actually live with his parents. He lives with two aunts, I believe. So now I'm just like, what happened to your parents? Did they drown? Like, a lot of unanswered questions I have here, but it seems like this book is going to really just not answer them. Let's be real, because I believe this is the first book. I do believe it's part of a series, so it seems like I'm just gonna have a lot of questions. And while that does irritate me, it also excites me, because what did I tell you guys about series? I love them. And the premise of this book just sounds really intriguing. So yeah, of course I'm excited to pick this up. and it just looks super, super lovely. I believe that a cover can tell you a lot about a book, so if you have a lovely cover, yeah, you've already stolen me. Now, last but not least is a book that recently got released, and it seems like it's going to be insane, and that is A Tempest of Tea by Hafsa Fizal. And yo, I love tea. I should let everyone know this. I am a big tea drinker, big tea lover. So in my head, I was kind of expecting, something surrounded in tea, something that was very, very focused on tea, maybe brewing, stuff like that. When I initially heard the title, I was completely wrong. Okay. So basically, Arthi is a mastermind criminal. Tea house basically moonlights as a blood house. So this is where vampires now come to kind of collect and drink blood. And so I'm like, I did not see that coming when I first saw the title. So it's basically it's basically a blood house, and apparently their business, Artie's business comes in danger. I don't know why. I don't know what's threatening them. But then that leads to Artie having to team up with a bunch of people to go on a heist. And I'm just like, what are you stealing? I still don't know. I'm just going by the initial plot of the book. And they go on a heist, and then Artie realizes that not everyone on her team is on her side. And so trouble. And if you want to know why I'm super excited for this book, it's the heist. I am okay. So one of my favorite books of all time is Six of Crows, and the heist was brilliant. And a crew performing a heist is what makes the book so brilliant, because we got multiple perspectives, which I love in books, but also just the adventure, and everyone is having their own kind of reasons for being on a heist. And this seems like it'll be something similar. I don't really know if this is a series. I cannot remember if it is. But a heist, a betrayal. The vampires definitely seem like they will add a lot of spice to it, because what's going on? Why are we feeding vampires? What's going on? And does Arthi have powers? Is Arthi also a vampire? I'm not really too sure from the initial plot. So yes, I'm super excited to get into this, because honestly, I don't know if I can say that any book will ever match Six of Crows and what it did for me and what it brought in my life. And the joy that Cass Brecker just grants me. But maybe something will come close. I have been chasing a high from Six of Crows ever since I really, really got into reading it, ever since I found Six of Crows and finally read it. So I don't know. I'm not sure if it'll bring me that type of joy and that type of love. They are my favorite cast in a book series ever, and I've been looking to find a found family like it. So I don't know if I'll find that here, but I'm hopeful. And before anyone starts with that nonsense about the crows aren't found family, yeah, get off my page. We don't believe in that here. They are a found family. They will do anything for each other. Some of them are emotionally constipated and can't express that, but that's how they really feel. Okay, so that's been sorted. Okay. But yeah, so those are all the books that I got as part of my February payday. And it's super, super exciting. All of these books, a mix of fantasy and thriller, and I think that's what makes it great, because when I'm feeling overwhelmed by fantasy, I can probably go to thriller. When the thrillers are scaring me, I can go back to fantasy, but take a dip and go to middle grade fantasy. I have a good collection of books, and yeah, I've obviously already read one. Everyone in my family has killed someone, and I've already started the Gilded Ones. I've already started They All Had a Reckoning. So I've already gotten into some of these books because I'm so excited. When I got these books, I was so excited, especially because I'm getting out of a reading slump, and yeah, these books were perfect. I'm just these books are the types of books that will get me out of this slump for good. They also might put me back into one, but who knows? I have a feeling that Misbourne will be the nail in my coffin. I feel like it'll throw me into another reading slump, and it'll be hard to get out of that one. So as excited as I am to pick it up, I might push it back further, just to save my hide. I do not want to get involved into another book slump. Yeah, no. But yeah, guys, these are all the books I got in this book haul that I haven't done in a while, but now that I have a job, I can do it monthly, and so that's super exciting for me. So hopefully I'll be giving you guys, monthly book haul videos. That's also scary for me because I've run out of room. Like, I'm not even joking. There's nowhere to put these books. There's nowhere to put these books anymore. If you saw my entire room, my comic book shelves, like, yeah, multiple shelves, they're full. My comic books are actually on the ground next to the shelves because I've run out. My books are kind of just like leaning on top of each other. It's getting chaotic here, and yet I continue to buy books. Is it a problem? No. So yeah, those are all the books I got. I cannot wait to start giving you guys reviews because these books, like, they're gonna be really, really fun, and I'm super excited to share, like, all of the adventure that I have with you guys. So yeah, until next time, guys, be sure to like, comment, and yeah, do comment because I want to know if you've read any of these books. Do you have anything to say, warn me about without giving me any spoilers? And are any of these books on your list, or have I convinced you to put any of these books on your list? So yeah, do be sure to comment and just let me know how you're feeling, what you're also reading. Share, of course, so that some people get some ideas on books to buy. And if you haven't already, subscribe. But yeah, until next time, I'll see you soon. Bye.